Welcome back to another show of Senior Matters. I'm your host, Greg Jamian, and today we'll be discussing the ABCs of precious metals, collectibles, and appraisals. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Senior Matters. I'm your host, Greg Jamian, and today we have with us John Abbott of Abbott's Corporation in Birmingham, Michigan. The place on Woodward that everybody always passes by and says, gee, I wonder what they do in there. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
John, let's start off by asking the question, is the price of gold going up or down?
You know, Greg, that depends on what you think the economy is going to do. If the economy continues in a downward trend, you're going to see actually the dollar going down, and that's going to make gold appear to go up. Gold really is a very stable metal, and you'll see it going up whenever the economy or whenever the value of the dollar decreases.
I see. Okay, let me ask you this question.
Fire.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the Birmingham, Bloomfield area.
Did you?
I did.
And you're in this field of precious metals, gold, diamonds, gems,
Rare coins.
Collectibles, artwork. How did you get into that?
The old-fashioned way. I was born into it. My dad started at Abbott's he started in the business in '56 in Detroit, moved to Birmingham in '67, and I grew up in it. Basically, it's a field of contra assets. John Maynard Keynes put forward assets and contra assets being different items. Anything from gold all the way to rare coins, including silver and platinum and collectibles, if you will, are on the side of contra assets. And those are what we work with.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about contra assets. That's kind of interesting.
Okay. Contra assets are items that you have physical delivery of, whether it's a signed baseball or a bar of silver or a rare coin. These are things that you buy and you can sell. You actually have possession of, and they have a independent value that is not created in a regulated market.
Okay, so that begs the question: if I buy an Al Kaline baseball for $40 and I sell it for $100, do I have to pay taxes on that increase?
You would have to pay income tax on the difference. And that would be up to you to declare.
I see.
You and your accountant.
Yeah. Uncle Sam wants a part of everything, huh? So
Absolutely.
Even my baseball. What makes you the expert that you are, that many people know you as?
Oh, well.
Years of experience.
Years of experience, actively working with the material. But beyond that, my dad spent way too much on education.
Well, where'd you go to school?
I attended Hillsdale College. I graduated with a BA in political economic theory. I attended GIA. I became a graduate gemologist. Beyond that, I've attended classes with the American Numismatic Association out in Colorado. I've gone through the training with the American Society of Appraisers in Valuation Science. I'm a master gemologist appraiser. I am a senior member of the ASA in numismatics and gems and jewelry. I serve on the Gems and Jewelry Board.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I'm also a member of the Professional Numismatist Guild.
Well, that's pretty impressive. So, no, it is, John. And I was going to ask you the question later on in the interview, but what are things that people should look for when they're looking for a rare coin or precious metal, to sell precious metals or buy precious metals or have an estate evaluated or evaluated.
Okay.
What are the criteria or the credentials that someone should look for?
Okay. Actually, a lot of it is common sense. You look for somebody that is established, so that there's recourse and there's accountability. You look for reputation, and you look for credentials. I would hesitate to suggest that anyone go to a fly-by-night operation that swings into town and swings out of town. If they want to meet you at a Denny's or at a hotel
Holiday.
room, you might want to be a little leery of that, unless you know the specific field backwards and forwards, and you know exactly what you have and where the market is on it. If you're dealing with rare coins, you want to look for a member of the Professional Numismatist Guild. PNGdealers.com has a list, and they go over a collector's bill of rights and various things that ways that you can determine whether or not a coin dealer is legitimate.
Right. Or they can just come and see you on Woodward Avenue, and
Please.
and you'd be willing to help them.
Absolutely.
Now-
Let me ask
Yeah.
or add one more thing. If they come to us on something that we don't work with, that we're not familiar with, or that we don't specialize in, if we're not the best marketplace for something, we're more than happy to tell them or make suggestions of places, people that are reputable, that they can go and see.
You know, I'm in the medical equipment business. I'm wondering if I could become a dealer in rare medical equipment, if there's a market out there for that.
There is. Sean?
Yeah, old doctor bags, right?
Yeah.
It's a family business. Abbott's is a family business. Tell us about that. Is your dad's in that? Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have one brother. He and I are running Abbott's now.
Is that Matt?
That's Matt.
Okay, I've met Matt.
Matt's a great guy.
Yeah.
One of us is always there. Our dad started the corporation back in '56. We've had multiple satellite locations and come back to one central location. But we do business all over the country.
Now you guys, you buy and sell on a daily basis, right?
Yes, we do.
What does it mean to buy a bag of coins or a bag of, I mean, I can't, buying one coin to me, it would be like, well, here, just have my mortgage on my house. But buying a bag of coins, what
Sure.
is that? Who does that?
Well, bags of coins are generally treated like a commodity.
Oh.
It would be a full bag of coins, or U.S. 90% silver coins, the old dimes, quarters, and half dollars, 1964 and before. They're 90% silver, and there's 712 ounces of silver in a full bag, which is $1,000 face.
Okay.
So when you say a bag of
So
silver,
it's a unit of measure.
correct, exactly.
And anybody that buys a bag of coins, it's kind of like certified to have a certain silver content in it and a certain
Right.
weight.
Yes.
So you know that.
Yes, and we run them through a coin counter. If you stop in the store and it sounds like a casino, that's because
Yeah.
we're counting.
How about bags of diamonds? Anybody ever buy those?
Would not be a wise way of buying diamonds. They scratch each other.
Oh, okay. Is registration required to operate a business like you have?
Just the regular business registrations with the state. As far as buying from the public, gold or silver, yes, you have to have if you're a Michigan corporation, you have to comply with Michigan laws regarding that. A lot of the non-Michigan corporations that come in for a short period of time, I understand, do not need to comply with the laws that the rest of us do.
So, what are some of the categories of things you do in your business, Abbott's?
We're limited to about a half an hour. We work with rare coins, precious metals, gems, and jewelry. There are other collectibles that we come across or that clients bring to us, anything from autographs to paintings. Again, under silver, we would work with sterling silverware, hollowware, various and sundry items. They don't all go for necessarily their intrinsic value, the melt value. They can go for many, many times that, depending on the collectability of the individual item.
Should, when you buy rare coins, I have to ask this question, are they taxable?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Some years ago, actually your brother spearheaded this when he was in the House. They had been taxable, and after a lot of work.
You mean John?
Yes, John, your brother. He along with Bill Bullard and Nancy Cassis were able to get the legislation changed so that there no longer is a sales tax on investments in coins and bullion.
Great. Okay, so I have $800 or $900 to spend. I want to buy a gold coin. Okay.
Sure.
I could buy a eagle, roughly, or a Cougaran.
Yes.
What should I buy? Or a panda? We were
Chinese pandas.
Yeah,
or
we just
Canadian
had the
maples.
Olympics in Beijing. What would you recommend and why?
I would recommend going with the U.S. Either the American Eagle or the old $20 gold pieces. Either one of them. There are a number of reasons that would take quite a while to go over, but for numerous reasons, you're going to be better off going with the U.S. coins.
Unless you just like the looks of the panda and you weren't really. John, when you buy and sell coins, you buy them at discounts and sell them at premiums.
Okay.
Typically, on American Eagles, if somebody were to bring you, let's say, a gold coin that was worth $800.
Sure.
I mean, do you guys buy them back at like 15% under, or what should a consumer expect?
Okay. Each one, for instance, the various pieces you just mentioned, the Chinese panda, the Krugerrand, and the American Eagle, they each have different premiums.
Okay.
And those premiums change, which makes the industry a little more complicated. But for the American Eagle, for example,
range.
Okay, there should be about a $55 difference, 50, 55, maybe $60 difference between buy and sell.
Okay. Hey, what is this palladium?
Palladium is a precious metal in the platinum family. What about it?
Oh, because I notice a lot of people trade it.
People are trading it, although the Canadian government, as of day before yesterday, which announced that they have just discontinued making palladium coins.
Oh, is it less than platinum?
It's less expensive than platinum.
More expensive than gold?
No. It is between gold and silver in price.
Okay. Well, I was wondering about that. How about gems? And which gems are the best for appreciation? If I was going to buy $50,000 of gems today, would I buy diamonds, or what would I buy?
Diamonds have become commoditized, if you will. If you have the right certification with the stones, GTL certs or an MGA appraisal, you'll know exactly what you're buying. However, it is still a market that I wouldn't suggest investing in. You can get a lot of wealth in a very small package if you want to transport the wealth somewhere else. However, your cost of entry and your cost of departure are going to be substantial again.
Now, let's say you had two experts valuing a diamond.
Okay.
Would they both come up with different numbers, or would they value it at exactly the same amount?
If they were two competent experts that were trained, if you had two MGAs, Master Gemologist Appraisers.
Which you are.
I am. I'm
Right.
I'm a Master Gemologist Appraiser. And it was for the same intended use in the report and using the same value definition. We would be very, very close.
I see. Well, brings us, we have to take a quick break right now. Okay. Seems like we just got started, but we'll be right back with more from John Abbott of Abbott's Corporation in just a moment. Welcome back to Senior Matters. I'm your host, Greg Jamian, and I'm here with Jonathan Abbott of Abbott's Corporation, the place on Woodward Avenue. John deals in precious metals, collectibles, artwork, estate jewelry, and appraisals. And that's, John, what I want to talk to you about next. People work or they live their lives collecting things. And, you probably see a lot of seniors that have weird things or things, not weird things, just things that were important to them. They've collected over the years, whether it be artwork, whether it be jewelry, whether it be antique golf clubs or something. Yeah. And so you are probably called in at some point, maybe upon death or prior to death, or for state or for tax reasons or creditor reasons, to come in and appraise those sorts of things. Is that a big part of your business or in your organization? And tell us a little bit about how that works and how people would call you or why.
Okay. Yeah, all the above reasons. We have people that we get calls from all over the country. Whether someone's looking to get out of contra assets, rare coins, precious metals, or there's been a death in the family. They have it's contested by the heirs. They want advice on how to disperse their assets before they pass away. We get called in. It's one division of Abbott's.
So like stamp collections, you
Sure.
do that as well? Coin collections? And
Yes. We do all the above. There's from legal action. We've been called in on prosecutions. We've been called in to help build cases against people who have defrauded seniors. We're always happy to sit down and go through a collection with someone and tell them what they have, and if they are questioning whether or not they're getting a good value.
Yeah, and we have a slide up there for our viewers on the appraisal process, and it kind of outlines, the process that you go through in interviewing potential customers. I'm sure you've appraised a lot of interesting things.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about some of the more interesting things that you've appraised or been asked to appraise.
Okay. I've appraised unique coins that are one of a kind. Matter of fact, yesterday I was working with an 1861 O proof half dollar. In 1861, New Orleans or Louisiana was under three different flags. It was under the U.S. flag, then it was under the independent state of Louisiana flag, and then it fell under the Confederate States of America flag. The mint in New Orleans was taken over by the Confederates, and they struck a few proof half dollars for the opening of the new mint.
That's interesting.
The argument is whether it's 4 pieces or 6 pieces that they struck. The whereabouts of 2 of the pieces are known. One is in the Mint Museum in New Orleans. The other one is actually it was in my hands yesterday and is in shipment back to its owner.
How much would something like that be worth? $1 million?
No, actually about $500,000.
$500,000?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty interesting. Now, when you ship that stuff back and forth, what do? Send it with a courier with a briefcase with a handcuff on there, and
all the above.
Or can you just call up Federal Express and stick it in there and ship it?
Usually not Federal Express on a $500,000 coin.
Yeah.
It would be couriered or it would be Brinksed.
I see. Well, it's a common thing. Now, the other, I would think, like, let's say you wanted a loan. I mean, you can pledge collateral, some of these not anti, but contra assets.
Sure.
as collateral, right, for a
Absolutely.
loan. And so at that point, we'd have to call you in and say, John, give us appraisal, and we would take that to the bank and show them that there's worth here, and you could, and they may lend on that or something.
We've been called in to do that for banks, for some venture capitalists, and now we're giving loans on contra assets.
Oh, you are?
Yes, we are.
Now, do you need a certain license to give loans?
You do. You do. And we now have that through the city of Birmingham, and so we're offering collateralized loans.
Well, you know what? Your rates are probably better than at the banks because these days, I mean, they 18 and 20% on credit cards. Come on.
Well, it's for specific individuals, for specific collections.
Yeah.
We're more than happy to work with our clients.
Well, that's interesting. Now, you probably have done some appraising for like governments, like states, treasuries, and any examples of any of that? How that came about?
We've done we've been the appraisers for the state of California now for 11 years, for the state of Arizona, for the state of Nevada, for the state of Washington, for the state of New Jersey. We work with the Postal Service. We've been, again, it goes back to spending way too much time getting credentials.
Well, we also have another slide out there, different types of appraisals that are out there. There's replacement value, marketable cash value, fair market value, liquidation.
Actually, there's right now there's 27 different types of appraisals that can be prepared.
Yeah. Each having a different price, probably, because
Yes.
it requires more research.
Well, yes.
Now, can you provide all levels of appraisals?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so if my parents were passed away and they have an estate and there's 3 kids in the family and everybody's arguing, that it's worth this or it's worth that, the earrings, the necklaces, the golf clubs, whatever else there might be.
Yep.
I could call you in or somebody could call you in, and that would be a good way to resolve the problem, right?
Absolutely.
Call you, you come in, you give a fair appraisal, and that pegs the value, and then it's just clearly dividing it by 3. But it benchmarks the value, which is probably one of the most difficult things to do in situations like that.
That's true. And what oftentimes will happen, for instance, I was on the phone yesterday with an attorney in just exactly that situation. They had, I believe it was 3 heirs and 2 attorneys plus the court attorney all involved. And it was fairly contentious, but they all agreed on retaining me and splitting my charges between all of them. I would give a marketable cash value, which is what an item can achieve minus the cost of achieving that price or that value on the jewelry, on the coins, and on other items. And then based on that, the items would be dispersed among the various heirs.
Huh. Kind of cleans it up and makes it easier, doesn't it?
Saves on attorney fees.
John, is there anything that you specialize on the appraisal side? I mean, do people call you in for certain things like baseball cards?
I get called on just about everything.
Your specialty is probably rare coins.
It's rare coins and gems and jewelry.
And gems and jewelry.
Those are my 2 areas of specialty. One of the things that I love about our business is that we get called on contra assets across the board. One interesting story, I was doing some work with the state of Arizona, and one of the things they brought to me was a Salem death warrant for one of the Salem witches.
Oh, really?
Yes, and
Was
so
it
I had to work
authentic?
on that.
That was your job.
That was my job. I went through all of the telltale signs of forgeries and counterfeits, and it passed all of the regular inspections, even under ultraviolet light. So at that point, I called in Ray Nugent, who is a specialist strictly in death warrants out of Florida. Being in the ASA, I have contacts with people all around the world that have various specific areas of specialty. And we had a chemical analysis of the signatures, a comparison of the whole thing for them. As it turned out, it was a forgery, but it was a very well-documented forgery. And because of the specific individual who did the forgery, it had a market of its own.
Is that right?
There are even some of the forgeries in major museums. Yep,
They're known forgeries,
they're known forgeries.
but they're so good that I've heard that before. Do you offer consignment at your business?
Occasionally we will. Usually we'll purchase outright or we'll sell, but
Okay.
occasionally we'll offer on coins. On jewelry, we do offer consignment services.
Now you said earlier that you'll loan money as well.
Certainly,
You have a license to do that.
yes.
If I fall behind on my mortgage, I could come to you, and I'd have to put up collateral, right?
Yes,
And I would put up the collateral, and you would advance me some money,
absolutely.
and then when I pay you back, I get my collateral back plus a little fee, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting. I'll bet you in this right now, I know in Bloomfield Township, we just passed an ordinance kind of limiting these gold sales that people are having in their homes.
Okay.
And we think that should be done at a reputable dealer, like yourself or a jewelry store. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that if someone's going to be selling a serious amount of money, if it's the back of one earring, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. If you're selling more than a couple $100s worth of things, you absolutely should work with somebody who's reputable and established.
Well, we have a slide on how to get a hold of John Abbott or talk to any of the knowledgeable people there. That's on the slide now, on the screen now, I'm sorry. And they're a great organization, always busy. There's always people coming and going out of your place. But I want to thank you for coming in today, John.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sharing your expertise on precious metals and collectibles and artwork and appraisals. And I'm Greg Jamian. You are watching Senior Matters, a show where seniors matter.